Hello. Thank you for joining us today in our studies of 2 Samuel. Today we're in 2 Samuel chapter 20. And as we look at this chapter, we once again see another rebellion that is going to come up in the face of David. This time it's going to come from Sheba. Sheba is not a member of David's family. He is instead an individual who is a Benjamite, and he is going to bring together the northern and central sections of Israel in moving away from David. Now, these are the same sections that basically followed Absalom earlier on. And so Sheba's going to build off of that rebellion from Absalom. You notice when David comes back to Jerusalem a couple chapters earlier that many of these are going to make statements toward David as though they are coming back to him, and really it's just fear that David is going to retaliate. When David doesn't do that, they go right back to the way that they were. Which is why David is going to state that Sheba's rebellion is far more dangerous than Absalom's was. But let's look at a couple of things that we need to notice and that we need to see when it comes to chapter 20. The first one is the fact that Israel and Judah are divided. Now, we're going to see later on in 1st and 2nd Kings the fact that Israel and Judah will divide permanently into two separate kingdoms, the northern kingdom and the southern kingdom. But that division is already in many ways here in the days of David. While they are still members of Israel, while they are still ones that are one nation and one descended people as far as that goes, they have gone separate ways on a number of occasions when it comes to what it is they're going to do and how they're going to do it. The people of Judah have been fiercely devoted and loyal to David, and they are going to be devoted to the descendants of David as well. The rest of the people of Israel are really just interested in going about and doing their own thing and doing it the way they want to do it. They're not interested. They have no loyalty to David or to his descendants as far as that goes. And so we see here one of the foreshadowings of the division that is seeping into the people of Israel even at this point. Now we recognize that God is going to be the one who is going to create the final shift in the days of Rehoboam, the grandson of David. But it starts here, and it is noticeable even here that there is a distinction between the way the people of Israel think and the way that the people of Judah think. And so we see that here in chapter 20. The second thing that I want us to notice is one of the key events that stands out here in this chapter, and that is Joab's actions in killing Amasa. I want to pull out just a couple of informational tidbits from this that help us see even the scope of Joab's actions. First of all, when you go back to Absalom putting Amasa in as the captain of his army, you read that Amasa is going to be a cousin of Joab's. And so Joab's mother and his mother are sisters as far as that goes. And so Amasa is a cousin. And with that, you have a family relationship that is here. But you also see some things from Joab's side, where this is now the third individual that we have record of that Joab has murdered in the course of the book of 2 Samuel. You see that he is going to do it to the one who was the commander of Ishbosheth's army, who was kind of the man behind the scenes when he tries to make peace with David early on. He was the one who killed Absalom, and now he is the one who is going to slaughter Amasa in the middle of the road by subterfuge. it really gives us a picture of what kind of man Joab is. Joab is going to be a man who is a relative of David. He is going to be very high ranking in David's army. He is going to have been with David from the time he was a very young man. But Joab is a brutal killer. Killing has absolutely no problem for him. He is not afraid of taking out anybody that stands in his way or anybody that threatens his place in the kingdom. David is not going to remove Joab. David is not going to go out and make Joab pay for his crimes. You're going to see David's reaction very similar to that with Amnon and even that with Absalom. David does not take strong measures against his own family. However, he is going to eventually lay things out for Solomon. And one of the things that he is going to give to Solomon, one of the things he's going to ask Solomon to do, is to take care of Joab. But David is not going to do that. And Joab is here once again going to take matters into his own hands. He is going to violate the commands that David has given and the things that David has set in place for his own personal self-interest. And so we truly see more evidence of the character of Joab here, but also of the fact that eventually it will catch up to him. Eventually he will be brought to justice for the things which he has done. It's just that those things don't always happen immediately, as we sometimes think that they should. And then the third thing I want us to notice here in chapter 20, and that is the actions of the wise woman of Abel. You know, you have this setting where Joab and his army are at the walls of the city. They have built this siege works, building up this earth mound up toward the top of the city so that they can get over the walls. They're trying to get in to get Sheba, who has taken refuge there in the city, and this woman comes out. And she basically asks Joab what it is that he wants, what it is that's going to make him go away, where he's not going to destroy the city, he's not going to kill everybody in it, he's not going to do any of these things. And so this wise woman is going to go out and she's going to try to negotiate with Joab. And she does. And she is going to come to an alternate conclusion to this story other than Joab coming in and sacking the city and taking Sheba and killing everybody around. She says, if we send out the head of Sheba, will you leave? He says, yes. And so the people of the city turn on Sheba, and they do. And Joab will keep his word on this occasion, and he will leave and return to Jerusalem. This woman gives us the illustration that there is more than one way to handle an issue, and that sometimes a wise individual can find a means of taking care of the problems without having to resort to something that's going to be harmful and dangerous for everybody. Sheba here is on the run. He is a criminal. He is one who has brought a rebellion against David. He is one who is on the run for his life. And he has put the people of this particular city at risk by his actions. And so the city responds in kind by removing Sheba in order to remove the danger. This wise woman is going to save her city a lot of heartache and a lot of pain by finding an answer that will be acceptable to everyone and that will take the situation and remove it from being a problem. There are oftentimes things where if we're willing to look at them close enough and if we're willing to make the effort to find a solution that might not be the most obvious, but is an adequate solution, Those options are often there. Many times we are so busy beating down the doors that we're not willing to take the time to find them. So these are some of the things that I've seen in 2 Samuel chapter 20. Certainly there's a lot more that we could talk about and a lot more that we could look at, but hopefully these have been beneficial to you. Next time we'll come back and we'll begin looking at 2 Samuel chapter 21. But until then, have a great day.